Welcome, Melinda. Great to speak to you.
Hi, thank you very much.
So, I understand you're looking for general direction. You're a bit stuck at the moment.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, there's something absolutely amazing for you to know and for all of us to know, is that we never need to be stuck. It's only when we've disconnected from our true nature, our higher self-intelligence, is when we actually become stuck. So what I'm going to do for you this morning is actually use what we call whole brain intelligence, where both hemispheres of our brain kind of connect together, and it has our brain become more like an antenna. And then I'm able to not only connect into my own higher self, but I'm also able to connect into yours to shed some light in any area of life to bring you the answers and direction that you're looking for. So what I'll do, I'll just start with some general direction or just general information, see where we go. And if you have specific questions, then we'll take it from there. So let me have a quick look for you and see what comes up.
Okay.
The very first thing that comes up is both you and your partner are a little bit shell-shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah? And it's like you've let the experiences of the past rattle your optimism into pessimism.
Yep.
Yep?
Yep.
Right. Now, what that's done is it's like instead of you guys bringing out the best of each other, you've actually started to do the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? It's like...
yeah, we're getting, we're kind of getting back together now, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like you guys have kind of misery likes company. You know that phrase?
Yep.
Yeah, and so let's just see where we need to go with that, because that's keeping you guys in a bit of a vortex in terms of, well, it's like this ongoing conversation of, well, there's no point trying, you know what happened last time, and then one of you starts arguing, the other one starts arguing, and it feels like you guys can be a little bit kind of derogatory towards each other.
Yep.
Yeah, and that just keeps both of you in a lull.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so where you need to go from here, it really does feel that there's a couple of choices ahead, all right? So it's up to you where you want to go from here. But the message to me is very clear. It's that it's like you guys really need to look at having more space apart until you're both on stable ground, because whilst there's a dependency on each other, you're not being dependent on each other for optimism. Rather, dependency is bringing out pessimism. Can you see that? Yeah. So there's this strong message that both of you could have a really great life together, but not now. It's like both of you need to go... it's almost like you both need to step away and regroup, get yourself into a space of self-belief, believing in what your dreams are, believing in what your passions are, believing in, your truest identity, rather than drawing on each other for an identity.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions on that?
No, not so far.
Okay, great. So let me just see if there's more information on that. Let me see if we can help you get a little bit more specific. So the question that comes up, well, how do you start nurturing yourself? How are you to walk on your own path for the time being to regroup? That's the question that I'm being shown to check in on your behalf. So let's have a look at what comes up there. There needs to be a lot more quiet time in your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when there's the TV on and when you're taking phone calls from friends, that actually just keeps you in like a suspended animation. It keeps you from growing.
Yep.
And it feels like you keep the TV on for a bit of background noise so you don't get lonely and you don't feel depressed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And And what needs to happen is that I'm seeing you really need to, it's like start prizing sitting by yourself with a book. Start really valuing sitting on a hill in nature and just having a quiet, still mind. Because it's in that space where a lot more of your self-belief starts to grow and cultivate. But when you're as distracted as it feels that you put yourself through, it's a stagnating space.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, great. So you need to really start prioritizing, all right, I'm going for a walk now. I'm going to go spend time by myself. I'm not going to be disturbed. I'm going to leave the mobile phone on silent. I can bring it with me for an emergency, but it's going to be on silent. Or no, you can't come around this morning. I'm actually doing yoga, or I'm actually making myself a beautiful meal for me to eat later tonight. So it needs to be a lot more all about you getting to a space where you trust your own judgments. All right, and you start believing your optimism again.
Yep.
Because without one of your greatest strengths is your ability to see opportunities. Can you relate to that? It's like you look at the landscape and you go, well, there's an opportunity for us, and there's like cracks where no one else would see them, but you see them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of your greatest strengths. But right now it's been shut down because you guys, it feels like you guys have been at each other. All right? So that's where you need to go from here.
Okay.
Do you have any questions on that?
No, all good so far. Thank you.
All good so far? All right, great. Was there any other questions on any other area there that you needed help with?
Probably our finances.
Yep.
Yeah, I suppose it's been just because my husband's a tradesman, so and I sort of, it's the weather and everything. But I don't know, just the last couple of years we seem to have we're always fine, and then I don't know, the last couple of years we just seem to have just lost it altogether. So
right. So what would the question be? Would it be how to get stable again? How to get ahead again? That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let me have a look at that for you. For you, are you currently working?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's have a look, because what was coming up for me was that you actually have a friend that you could be doing work for. So I'm not sure what you're doing at the moment, but what's showing up is there's somebody you know that would really need and really value your support. It feels like on the phones, organising things, following up on invoices, following up on various things, and it feels like that's a better environment than what you're currently in.
Okay.
Can you think of who that might be?
Yep.
You know who that is?
Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. In terms of you're asking about your husband as well, let's have a look for him. You know what it feels like to me with him is that he actually is a little bit rough around the edges around people in his workplace.
Tradesmen, so I suppose, they're a bit rough,
it feels like he's a little bit, he takes the piss a bit too much, takes the piss out of people a little bit too much, and he's a little bit, feels like he's got a bit of a mood when he's on the job.
Okay, yep.
And the message I'm getting is that that's actually pushing away a lot of work for him.
Okay.
Because subconsciously what's going on for him is, I don't want to be around these dickheads. Yeah. Right? And they feel that. And so that's the reality he's creating. He's actually creating ironically what he doesn't want, but also he's creating what he does want. Okay. All right? So for him to start getting, ahead of the game there, he needs to really he needs to deal with the fact that, what's the words? Let's have a look. He needs to have a look at who he's being in his workplace and start clearing that. Does that do you understand what I mean by that?
Yep, yeah, I do, yep.
Yeah, because he is at absolute core responsibility in pushing away this work. And it's not necessarily that he's actually declining it physically in the physical world, but the energy that he's creating around him is giving everyone the impression he doesn't want to be working right now.
Yeah, okay.
So he's not attracting it in. He's not creating more of it. There's no flow.
Okay. Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
All right.
No, that's good. That makes complete sense.
Beautiful. All right, Melinda. Any last questions there?
I suppose just a general, like, I don't know if you can, like, just this year, like, if it's going to be, the last couple of years have been pretty up and down, and I suppose I'm looking just, hopefully this year's just going to be a bit smoother, and a bit, less, sort of, less up and down, like, we seem to have really high highs and really low lows, and hopefully, I'm just hoping this year will just be a bit more consistent.
The message I get very clearly on that one is it's in the hands of your husband predominantly, whether it's smooth or not smooth, because what's come up for him is a lot of his past needing to be dealt with. This is where a lot of the anger and where a lot of the failings over the last year, feels like 3 years, a lot of the last 3 years has happened, is because he's been ignoring these parts of himself and suppressing them, and now they're coming up to be dealt with. And if he keeps going on this denial path, they're going to get worse.
Okay.
So by all means, feels like I should tell you, we can certainly help with some mentoring. One of our all-knowing mentors who's done all our training can definitely help him move through that very, very quickly. It might take an hour, but if he doesn't look at this stuff, then it's just going to keep coming up. That same patterns, the same failures, the same letdowns and disappointments, they're going to keep coming up until he clears those beliefs about himself. That I'll give you a few examples of the beliefs that I'm being shown that he carries is life's a disappointment. Nothing I set out to do ever works out. Yep. Yeah. And what else? Yep. They all ring a bell?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And so that belief, right, is now being mirrored in his reality. Reality mirrors the belief system. So unless he shifts that belief system, the reality is just going to keep mirroring that. So that's where he needs to start.
Okay.
All right.
So do I just go to your website to find a mentor, or? Yeah,
look, we can definitely organise that for you. But we can help you out with that. So there you go. Thank you for for being part of our call.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, no, that was fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Melinda. Well, we hope to hear from you soon.
Yeah, thank you.
All
Have
right.
a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.